Hi, I'm Phil Constantine. On this episode of Travels with Phil, we're going to the Pima Air Space Museum. It's an aircraft lover's paradise located in Tucson, Arizona. You can see on the map here, right in the city of Tucson in the southern part. This is the Davis Monthan Air Base and called the Boneyard, where they salvage all the old planes. And not too far away is the Pima Air Space Museum, where you can see their outdoor displays and their hangars. Been very fortunate. The Pima Air Space Museum has allowed me to use some of their videos to supplement my own. And as we cruise above the level there, you can see they have 6 hangars there and over 125,000 artifacts. This is the largest non-government museum for aircraft in the world, as far as I know, definitely in the U.S. You see all the aircraft that they have outside, as well as the ones there inside the hangars there in front of you. And quite a display there. It's amazing. I've been through it and really enjoyed this, and I've been to several aircraft museums. They have bombers like you see on the right, fighter aircraft, commercial aircraft such as the one you see right there in the center of your screen. They have experimental craft. Coming into this picture here in the center are the Harrier Jump Jets. I believe they have the largest collection of Harriers in the world. So let's take a look around. And this is at the Pima Air Space Museum in Tucson, Arizona. Just around the corner from the, I believe it's the Davis Monthan base, where they have their boneyard and where they store all the old planes that they're starting to strip down. But they have 300 some odd airplanes here at this particular facility. That is a big one. That's Strategic Air Command. That is a big aircraft over there. Pushers in the back, B-52s in the background. A Constellation right there in front of you. Air Force One, a version of the Air Force One. There you go. The one just past the helicopter. Get in the shade here, might show up a little bit better. And they just have tons and tons of aircraft out here of all kinds of varieties. So it's a pretty cool place to be. Let's take a detailed look at the Super Guppy. That's a looking character as me. As you'll notice how big the fuselage here. Some people used to call it the pregnant Guppy because it's so large. And this was used to transport items that were too big to fit in a regular plane or on trains or most roads. NASA used it quite a bit to transport specialty pieces, rocket parts, and things like that that needed to be moved rather quickly. So it's just a massive aircraft out here. Next on our list here, they have a couple of Air Force Ones out there. It is an old Air Force One. We got Air Force mini jets over there. Another one over here. So lots of them around. This is a Douglas, and it's the VC-118A. And it says here that it was used by both Presidents Kennedy and Johnson, 61 through 65. And this is a vintage video of LBJ down at the bottom of the stairs there, President Lyndon Johnson exiting the plane that's here. So let's take a look at Freedom 1. You're looking at the aircraft here. This plane flew American hostages that were held in Iran from 1979 through 1981 for 440 days, transported them back to the United States after they were released, calling it Freedom 1. And now the B-52. This is a B-52 D as in David model out at the Pima Air and Space Museum. I'm going to show you a little bit of the inside. They don't have the crew areas open. But this is number 50067. It looks like maybe it's an S. But gonna go under the forward landing gears. And look at all the stuff in here. Wiring, electrical runways, cabling. Some of this is cabling for the tires. Others just all kinds of stuff for all kinds of stuff. Big wingspan. All right. This was America's primary airborne defense system, post-World War II, Korea, post-World War, post-Korea, pretty well, maybe a little bit of Korea.
and after that.
Next up is the Boeing 787 Dreamliner.
And this is a Dreamliner 787, one of the All Nippon Airlines experimentals. I don't know if it actually was delivered to them, or if that was just the colors they put on it. It does say experimental. I know they were called a couple of them. That is one big engine. And I'll show you something. That little spot right in there where you see the body with the red line through it, that's above my head. That's how big that engine is. And it says do not climb inside. Okay, I won't. That is one big motor. Only 2 engines on this 787. All kinds of carbon fibers. Makes it light. If it works properly, it's very efficient. Problem was the original battery setups didn't work quite right. Yes, Boeing's got a really good documentary on how they put this together. It's available on their websites. An interesting plane.
So let's take a look at the Boeing 777 Dreamliner. You're looking at the 777, it's the 777 as you usually call it, the world's largest twin-jet wide-body airliner for a while there. It was also the most built wide-body airliner for quite some time, and we still have that record. And this one went for Cathay Pacific, and depending on the model, it carried between 301 and 396 passengers, and you can see inside the passenger area here. All right, inside we have the Lockheed 71.
Looking at the SR-71, the Blackbird here in the Pima Air Space Museum. One of the docents told us that it used to be the RS-71, and Lyndon Johnson at some event introduced it as the SR, and they decided to keep the designation. So, built by Lockheed. And this is what the cutaway version of the nose looked like. This was a radar, side-looking radar configuration. All the technical stuff. This is the second one built and the oldest one that's still out there.
Next up is a B29 Super Fortress. You're looking at it here. This is in one of the hangars there. This is the Sentimental Journey. And it had quite a few missions, as you can see up there. Looking inside, this is the Bombay area. The little tube you see above, that's how the crew got from the front of the aircraft to the back. It was pressurized, and it was one of the first bombers that was pressurized. And here's a look at it while in flight. Did a lot of flight, and they made a lot of them. This is the Lockheed Constellation over again to the commercial area. It was the first civilian airliner to enter widespread use of pressurized cabins so it could go above bad weather, which made it much more comfortable for the passengers. And it flew from 1943 through 1958. As I mentioned earlier, they have an enormous collection of Harrier Jump Jets. Just a quick look here. This is one coming in for a landing. Now, they could take off vertically while just standing still, but that's why they had these little outriggers there to keep them stable. And lots of helicopters here at the facility. You can see a long line of them here, a variety of shapes. I like the 2-prop ones, the 2-blade ones out there. Interesting designs out there in that spot. Can't really show you everything that's out there. It would take too long to do it. These are the admission prices in 2025. Hope you enjoyed this visit. And finally, a special thank you to the Pima Air and Space Museum CEO Scott Marchand for giving me permission to use some of their images. I highly recommend a visit to this excellent museum. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please feel free to make comments below as long as the language is family friendly. And if you like this video, please click on the thumbs up button below. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking on the circle with my picture in it in the lower right hand corner of the video. The arrow's pointing at it now. And once you have subscribed, you can be notified of when I have a new video posted by clicking on the bell icon in the description field below the video. Thanks again for watching.